So the good guys, our allies, come to Ottawa to speak to Justin and say, please, LNG, natural burning LNG. Justin said there's no business case for it. But he continues to approve selling coal to China. And China is not exactly friendly. Brian Lilley joins me right now, a columnist from the Toronto Sun, because I want to get some sense out of this. Because if anybody can find some sense in it, it's going to be you. We are sending... Is that wrong?
It doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense at all.
We're sending stuff to countries which are not very favorable to us, and our allies go away empty-handed. And yet Germany, when we turned them down, they built a new plant in 6 months.
Germany started shortly after the war in Ukraine. They said, we need LNG import terminals.
Right.
Between February and December, they built one of 5 that's going to be completed. The rest are opening up over the next few weeks. We can't build an export terminal in 10 years.
We used to have 12, I understand, on the plans, and now because of the government saying poo-poo, there's only one that might get to fruition.
So the one in Kitimat will open in 2025. We have an LNG terminal in St. John, New Brunswick right now, but that's an import terminal.
Yeah.
Could we have turned around and added infrastructure there at that deep water port to export? Possibly, and it could have been done quickly, but there's no will to do it because Trudeau wants to give lectures to Germany and Japan that they need to decarbonize, yet as you point out, we're shipping coal to China. Coal burns far heavier, far worse, far more polluting, whether we're talking about particulate, greenhouse gases, doesn't matter how you measure it, coal's worse.
And yet we know that Germany and Japan, they're going to find LNG. Qatar, somewhere else, they're shipping it anyway. So there's no decarbonization going on at all, except for Canadians are poorer because we don't have the jobs.
Well, and at the same time, we've got this big push to get rid of natural gas to generate our electricity. It's the #1 fuel to generate electricity in Alberta.
Right.
It's #3 in Ontario, which is the biggest system in the country.
Right.
It is a major source. And guess what? If you're using wind and solar, which we do in Ontario, you need gas as a backup because you know what happens? Sometimes the sun goes away, sometimes the wind stops blowing, and when that happens, you turn on the natural gas because it's flexible and you still generate the electricity. When the wind is blowing, when the sun is out, you can turn it down. You can't do that if you get rid of natural gas, which is what they're doing across the country.
It makes no sense. We're hurting our allies and we're aiding the people who are not so friendly with us. So why aren't Canadians up in arms?
Because Teflon Don Trudeau just skates away with it. He smiles, he looks like a Disney prince, and people forget about it. He doesn't wear these things, but he should. And when they come for your gas stove and your gas furnace and your gas water heater, maybe they'll wake up.
It still looks like Al Bundy to me. Brian Lilley, thank you. 3 minutes. You have just heard another discussion that would not be allowed on the Trudeau-funded state media. Not just the CBC, but all the other media that gets hundreds of millions of dollars from the government. So if you want a discussion of ideas, stick with us. Please subscribe. And if you can, PayPal, because we need a little bit of dollars to keep this going. Thank you.